Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hi, and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Cindy Murray, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Kristen Hessler and Amber Garvin.
Hola!
Hey.
And if this is your first time joining us, we're glad to have you here. And if you're returning, then welcome back. We love having you join us for our little conversations. This is something that we do all the time, have these kind of conversations, and we like sharing them with other people. So that's why we're here, is to have these conversations and to share them with you. And we would like you to also join in the conversation. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this podcast and then go over to our blog at modernmusings.net and you can follow us there. We also have a Facebook group called MMC Chat, which you can access off of our Facebook page for Modern Musings. And you can link to all of that off of our website. Again, that's modernmusings.net. And we want you to do that so that you can get the whole story, not just part of it. Today, we are here. We're right here in the holidays. Everything is upon us. And this is often a very stressful time for people. And I want to share my 7 secrets for a perfect holiday season. Now, I will tell you, my 7 secrets may not be your 7 secrets, but these are the things that have helped me in the past few years to be stress-free as much as possible. And learning to be stress-free during the holidays has really increased my enjoyment of the holidays. And that's why I thought it would be a really good thing to share with you guys today. So I'm going to start off on the blog earlier this week on Monday. I listed my 7 secrets, and we're just going to kind of discuss them today and then discuss Amber and Kristen's, their own ideas, their take on having that stress-free holiday. And so I'm going to just share with you right now the list. So the number 1 for me is to be realistic, to know what I am actually capable of doing and just say no to the rest of it. So a lot of times we get into this idea that the holiday has to have this, and this in order to be perfect. And I will be the first one to tell you, last year I learned that none of that stuff has to be there for it to be perfect. And we'll talk about that as we go on. And I talked about that on the blog. Number 2 is make a plan. I know you've heard Kristen and Amber and I talk about being planners. Planning is essential. If you know what's coming up, what possibilities you have to look out for, then you are prepared. And that will help you not be reacting to things. You've already planned for it. I also like to say, number 3, delegate. If you can delegate some of those responsibilities, that takes a load off your shoulder. And this is something, I used to be the person, I felt like I had to do it all. I had to do all the baking. I had to do all the decorating. I had to do all the Christmas cards and everything else. And being able to hand that off to other family members and just let it go is a big, huge part of letting go of that stress. Lower your expectations. That kind of comes with the delegating. So when you delegate, if you lower those expectations, then you're not expecting the other people to be perfect. They do what is perfect for them, and you're okay with that. And that takes away a lot of the stress. Number 5 is be in the moment. It's important to remember why you're celebrating, why you are gathering with these people, why you are doing these things that you're doing. And don't sweat the small stuff. If it doesn't play into your why, then it doesn't really matter. I also like to remind people about number 6, which is keep a budget. A lot of people overspend during the holidays. They overbuy the meals, things like that. If you can keep your budget under control, then you aren't worried about how you're going to pay for it after the holidays are over. And then my last one is keep your routines. A lot of people change their routines during the holidays, like their workout, their diet, their sleep habits. Those things change. Keep those routines as much as you can, because good exercise, good diet, good sleep are important to thwarting that stress. So those are my 7 super secrets. I don't think they're really secrets, but those are my 7 secrets for a perfect holiday. And I will say, I think we've had some perfect holidays since I started trying to keep those things in mind. What do you guys think? Y'all been here with us, all these holidays. Amber's shared many holidays with us as well. So do you have different items that would be your top 7? Or do you have any comments to make about the 7 that I shared?
Well, I definitely want to add, I know, like, in the holidays, you're dealing with family members, and, throughout the year, you might not have the best relationship with family members.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess one of my suggestions would be, don't bring those past grudges into the holiday, because it just brings down everybody else's holiday.
I agree. And I think that falls into the be in the moment. The moment is now. Enjoy those people's company now and forget about what happened before.
And then same thing with things in your life. Like if you're, having problems at work or having problems with your spouse or whatever, don't bring those into the holiday, because the holiday is for everyone to enjoy, not be part of your drama.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great.
Yeah, I think a lot of families that suffer with the drama with their relatives, the best thing you can do in those situations is to avoid, those conversations or being in those places where that drama spurs from, or accidentally putting your foot in your mouth. A lot of times when the family gets together, if there's, one of the family members isn't there, sometimes negative talk happens in some families about
definitely
family members and stuff like that. And that is the negative energy that you bring in to the holiday. Mm-hmm. So avoiding that type of conversations with your family, or even if it's at a holiday work party.
Right.
Those kind of things can bring down the vibe.
I agree. Yeah. So what about realistic? I know, for me, I really want to have it all at the holidays. And that's one of the things I set out. It's I want to bake all the baked things. I want to go see the lights. I want to make a gingerbread house.
I feel like we've kind of found a way to avoid being unrealistic by planning out the holidays. I know, because that's making a plan, but we've been documenting what we did the previous year.
Yes.
In our little holiday planner.
And y'all also do it over a series of days. It doesn't always have to be all Christmas
on one day.
Eve.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because we kind of celebrate it all through December. But I was thinking, for instance, the baking stuff, right? Mm-hmm. We want to bake, every favorite cookie recipe and holiday cake recipe that we have, and Mom has 5 different pies. Right. Mom has these different pies that she likes to make for all the different holidays, and she kind of went, well, if I'm making this pie for Thanksgiving, I'm not going to make it for Christmas. And then I could make this dessert for New Year's instead of trying to cram it all in at Christmas time. Or
Right. And that's one of the things we do as part of our planning. We talk about that. Kristen and I start planning the holidays well in advance of the holidays. And we talk about the menu and the days that everyone's off work, and what days we have available to do what activities. And we kind of selectively say, well, we've got time to do something on this day and we've got time to do something on this day. So we could do the gingerbread houses on this day and we could wrap presents on that day and watch a movie or something. And I think that helps, when you start scheduling it, actually scheduling it out and making that plan, you see what is realistic and what is not.
You can do.
Yes.
I know one year my family, and I know I've told y'all about this, but of course I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but one year my family didn't really plan out who was going to bring what. So it turns out that everybody brought a pie. And we had about 7 or 8 different pies one year for Christmas.
Nice. And no meat or anything else. Yeah.
Well, no, there was meat because my grandma always made the meat and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was meat and sides and stuff like that. But then all the various different families bring a different dessert.
Right.
So my grandma always makes her pumpkin pies. So then my mom brings pecan pies, and my aunt brought apple pies, and my cousin's girlfriend, it was her first Christmas with us, Allison, of course, now she's been married in the family for like 10 years. She brought a butterscotch pie. And so there was just, about 7 different flavors of pie. I mean, of course, it all got eaten because my family loved sweets.
Yeah.
But
don't we all?
But yeah, there was a lot of pie that year.
Well, and we've had that problem before with side dishes on various holidays too, not just Christmas. When we've had company for a holiday and 3 different people will bring beans or something, or 3 different potato salads. And so having that planning and putting that word out there, notifying everybody else, delegating, that goes back into delegating.
Yeah.
And really a lot of these things fall
kind of go together.
They all go
That's
together
what I was saying.
as
When
planning.
you're being realistic, you are lowering your expectations.
Yes.
Because if you're unrealistic and you have this ideology of what your holiday is supposed to be, like this Hallmark, I always say Hallmark because if you've watched one of those Christmas movies, everything is like
Hallmark,
decked.
Norman Rockwell.
Oh, goodness. Like, that is not realistic at all. I have never been to a Christmas or heard about a Christmas where everything went right.
No, yeah, I agree. There's always something, and even if it's just the gravy takes longer to set up than you thought it would or something, you never know what's going to happen. But having that plan really helps with that because you can kind of
have a backup gravy just in case, like a microwave gravy if your scratch made gravy doesn't work.
Or you can have plans to entertain people while you're waiting for dinner, or you'll have a few extra appetizers to tide them over if dinner's delayed, things like that. And so nothing ever goes as planned. And as I mentioned in the blog, last year was a perfect example of that. We had construction remodeling going on in the house last year, and my living room was gutted. The furniture was in the middle of the floor. The carpenters got here in time to lay the hardwood floor, and that was it. So I never put up a Christmas tree or anything because I knew that I'd have to take it down for them to come work. And so Christmas Eve, we're sitting here with no Christmas tree. We have no Christmas decorations. And we just had a big pile of Christmas presents that Kristen and I had wrapped that were piled
Stashed
up
away.
Yeah. And Ashley, was like, you know what? I don't care what kind of tree we have, but I want a tree. So if you don't put up a tree of some sort, I'm going to do something, And so I pulled out one of my smaller trees that goes in a different room. I had a bunch of pom-poms that I had made that I was going to make a little pom-pom bunting banner thing out of, and those little battery operated fairy lights, and I handed them off to her and she decorated.
And that was the cutest little tree ever.
It was. And we did things completely differently. I didn't have a dining room to eat in. So we set up tables outside, and my husband went and bought another roll of Christmas lights really quick on this is Christmas Eve that we're deciding this because we didn't. I mean, we planned
to not do anything, but then we were just kind of like,
yeah.
But I thought it was set up really nice. It was from an outsider's perspective that just came to eat. It was was set up really nice.
We moved the tables out to the patio. I covered them with my traditional Christmas tablecloth. I brought out the fine china, and
it was nice weather too.
Oh, it was beautiful
perfect
weather
here,
for outside.
and
we just sat outside under the lights Christmas Eve and had our formal dinner al fresco, and it was just the best thing ever. And that showed me that perfect is all in your state of mind. Perfect is not about having the exact same thing that you always do, or about it matching your picture in your head.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect is being in the now, enjoying what is, and remembering why you're there, and making use of that.
And I know that I have definitely fallen into that rabbit hole. I know I talked about this probably around the same time last year when we were talking about Christmas, about the Christmas after my mom died.
Mm-hmm.
How I nearly killed myself to make it exactly how my mom did it.
Yeah.
For my grandma and then my ex-husband. You know, I wanted to play Santa like my mom did. I wanted to cook the same things my mom did. I wanted to do everything like my mom did. And I failed horribly at it. It was a really horrible experience. So the next year I decided to just not celebrate Christmas.
It was a horrible experience because you were judging yourself.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I was judging myself because I was trying to be just like my mom and be just like how I grew up.
Well,
And it just couldn't. I just couldn't.
Here's another thing, too, to think about, that your mother probably knocked herself out, exhausted herself, stressed herself, trying to make that exactly the way that you picture it. And she was probably beating herself
she didn't
up,
sleep
too. Yeah.
on Christmas ever. She took out loans to make everybody have the perfect Christmas, to buy everybody Christmas presents, to make everything and do everything. My mom really killed herself the whole year just for Christmas.
And that comes back to that expectations thing. You know, she set you up to have those certain expectations about what Christmas should be. But probably if she had just set you up to have a simple tree and simple gifts, those are the things that you would expect. And so it really is, it's a good thing that she loved you so much that she wanted to do all those things, but it was obviously detrimental to her.
Yeah.
And which you've experienced now trying to do it yourself and trying to have those unrealistic expectations.
Who's to say that I won't do it if I ever have kids?
Well, yeah, things change. You change what you want for your kids. You may be in a different place where you're able to knock yourself out and do all those things, do all the baking and buy all the things. And I just think, don't sweat that small stuff. Don't hold yourself to those expectations. Your Christmas doesn't have to be like your mom's Christmas. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've changed things around a lot.
I mean, those were her traditions, and I need to start and do my own traditions.
Well, and that's something that we kind of did when we moved to the Dallas area. We moved away from our family. Mark and I both had family alive in the Lubbock area, and we had traditionally Christmas at one family and then Christmas at another family, and both families did things differently. And so, and then Kristen had yet another family from my ex-husband's family. So, we had, all these different things that we loved from all of them, and things that stressed us out from all of them as well. And so that was kind of when we moved out here and started celebrating Christmas away from them, we started changing those things. And some of those things started to happen when the older people in the family that hosted those holidays started passing away. And so then whoever the hostess was,
It morphs.
it does. It morphs to fit whatever the hostess wants to do. And so we kind of started developing our own holidays, and we just looked at all the things we did with all of those families and, kind of co-opted them into our own traditions. And then we would see things, from other crafters or other friends that they do, and we co-opt those things as well. So yeah,
I had a suggestion that you were just like reeling it right into it. So mine was embracing people and other cultures.
Oh yeah.
During the holiday season. They always say America is the melting pot of other cultures, and you have this wonderful opportunity to experience other cultures' holiday celebrations, especially if you have a friend or someone who like really understands like the tradition or can share a little piece of it with you. Embracing it and enjoying it for what it is, even if it's a surprise or it takes you off of like your planned holiday. It's still fun though. Like that's kind of like being in the now. And also with the drama too, I think sometimes we get a little like uptight about like what our holiday expectation is because it's our culture. And with other cultures coming in, you have different music and different foods and other people that are also enjoying the holiday, and it's branch out and enjoy those things.
I agree. Yeah, like we incorporated Hanukkah into our Christmas celebrations.
I was just going to mention that, how you've started incorporating part of Raina's family into your Christmas traditions.
So there's a lot of things there. Kristen, you didn't mention, did you have any must-dos or secrets that you wanted to add to my list there? Or any other comments about any of the...
My secret is to start early and spread yourself out.
I do,
especially for the budgeting thing. Like, I try to start buying Christmas things. Well, when Christmas things start coming out, honestly, like nowadays it's earlier and earlier. End of August, I started seeing Christmas stuff.
There is a plus to that because places like Hobby Lobby, they always have their holiday decor on sale, like 50% off this time of year because it's not Christmas
time. Or catch it
but...
when it's 75% off the day after Christmas. I always buy my holiday decor the day after Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And Halloween
that
decor.
Too. Yeah, I always run and get like new
clean up on the
wrapping paper and stuff.
Yeah.
But like in August, if you want to get a couple of ornaments and some new lights for your tree, you can buy some of that stuff.
Yeah, 50% off, 60% off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's definitely worth
my
it.
Halloween stuff at like the end of July when they started putting it out because it was all 50% off.
Yeah. Well, and that's when the stuff is fresh and there's new things out there, that maybe you haven't seen before or whatever. And I do agree with that. Like, set that budget early. And a lot of people do what they call a Christmas fund with their bank, where you have an automatic
automatic go into a savings or
savings that you can use for your Christmas.
You can do that even without a bank, even if you didn't want to invest in a separate savings account or something. Just taking a little bit of cash out and putting it in an envelope and tucking it away in a safe place.
That's the best way because then you're not looking at it.
Right. Yeah. And set, like a dollar amount, either per person or a total dollar amount, and then divide it out. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Like you can say, well, for my immediate family, I'm going to give them this amount, and then for friends and lesser, coworkers and things, I'm going to give them this lesser amount. And, I often do that. Like for all the nieces and nephews, they get X number of dollars. And for my children and my grandchildren and my husband, they get more,
Yeah,
so
I do the same thing. Like I make a list probably beginning of September, mid-September of who I'm going to buy for Christmas. And I put them in like different categories and when I can buy that gift because people that I'm not going to see, like my friends in Vernon, or people that live that I'm going to see later that I want to give the gift in person, I probably won't buy their gift until the end of December.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of plan out which paycheck I'm going to buy what gift out of.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I start looking. Sometimes I start looking even earlier than that. I may have I actually keep a running list on my computer for ideas for gifts for different people. So,
yeah, Amazon list.
Well, and so Amazon lists are fabulous because you don't necessarily have to buy it from Amazon either. Don't tell Amazon I said that. But that's a great way, and you can. My family actually has Amazon lists for everybody in the family. They add the things that they want to it, and then we've shared the link, and so every year I'll reshare those links with the family, and hopefully they have updated their wish lists. Sometimes they don't, and they wind up getting kind of a surprise for Christmas. But we like having the list because it kind of gives you an idea, and then I also keep a list of things that I think would be good gifts that maybe they didn't ask for, but that are
things they'd like.
That I know they would like, or things that they need or whatever. And so I keep a running list of that too. So if I can, I know how much those things are going to cost, and I just kind of budget for those. And, it's not smart to buy Christmas on your credit cards. It really isn't. Because
then you're paying it off all year like my mom did.
And then next year you're not going to have any money for Christmas again. So there's been times in my life when I was a single person, and we'll talk about this next week, I think, right, Amber, when we talk about
handmade Christmas
gifts. There were times in my life where I had $0. I was a single mom. I had no money. And so everybody got baked goods from me for Christmas. And you know what? Nobody is going to look down on you for...
Everybody likes food. Come on now.
Well, and everybody knows what your situation is. If you're out there buying $100 gifts and you can't afford to keep food on your table, then everybody knows what your priorities are. And it's not taking care of yourself or taking care of your family. It's trying to look good. I'm sorry, that's a harsh way to look at it, but it is. Nobody is going to think bad of you for buying a small, simple gift.
Or something sentimental.
Or something handmade.
Well, it's the thought that counts.
Well, it is. It absolutely is. And the size of the prize is not the point at Christmas.
I mean, even if it's just like a sweet card that you send somebody, or if you write poetry, a poem or a story from about them, or if you are an artist and you make a drawing, it's...
One year, one of my, and I don't want to give away all of next week, but one year, one of my big gifts was scrapbooks to my mother and my mother-in-law. And I spent the whole year making these little scrapbooks of their grandchildren for them. And those were treasured items for them. And, all they cost me really was a little bit of supplies and my time. So, so that's where, don't think that you have to buy big presents or whatever, because that's not what the holidays are about anyway. It's about giving out of your heart, not out of your pocketbook.
So avoid consumerism and the ploys on the television.
Black Friday is a crazy, stupid...
And they
don't
started that early this year too, like on
it's
Amazon.
Just a gimmick.
It
really is just a gimmick.
It's kind of crazy.
And don't raise your children to be like Dudley Dursley and be like, 39 presents last year. I got 40.
Yes. Yeah.
I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
The first year that we had Raina.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to, little pictures have big ears, and I don't like to talk about the magical, mystical things that happen
At Christmas.
at Christmas
yes.
time. But, she makes this long laundry list of toys that she wants, and she had an expectation that she was going to get every single one of them. And all were delivered except for one. And it was,
She actually got something better than that one, but it wasn't the exact one.
It wasn't what her expectation was. Right. And it shattered me because that was my first experience, being the magical, mystical
part of Christmas.
Yeah. Yes. And so my expectations were unrealistic. And that was,
It's eye-opening. It is eye-opening.
It really is. Yeah.
And you're right. You have to teach your children to lower their expectations. You do. You cannot allow your children to have those unrealistic expectations because they will grow up into adults who have those unrealistic.
AKA me. No, really.
Well,
really.
You're not Dudley Dursley.
Well, no, I never was like that. But, I mean, no, it really never was like that. I was just thinking of like I had, the expectations I had to make Christmas exactly like how my mom made it.
Right.
No,
but
whenever if your mom like broke her back giving you every single thing and then you threw a tantrum because
oh no, I never did that, and I knew that I wasn't going to get everything on my list because my mom had certain places that she went to shop, and I knew that my friend Chaslin and I would probably get the exact same gifts because my mom's best friend Rhonda, they both went to the same places to shop. So I knew I had I had an idea of like what my mom did and where she went as far as, buying me gifts. I knew I wasn't going to get everything that I wanted. She usually bought me a perfume, and I'd give her like a list of 5 perfumes that I might want. And she'd go to Harry Hines and buy me a perfume.
Oh, and for all of you who don't know, like Harry Hines is like this shopping district here in the Dallas
where
area.
you go and buy
it's the
like
import district.
The import, like so if you want, stuff that you can't find,
knockoffs, and it's like Canal Street.
and like she always bought me shoes, so I'd give her like 5 or 6 kind of shoes that I might want. So I'd get maybe one of them or something similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stuff like that. The Delia's catalog, which is like a really hip ordering store when Kristen and I were kids.
Oh my God. I wish I still got those because I would totally wear those clothes.
Yeah.
Here's a thought. So is it Switzerland that does hygge? Is Switzerland?
I believe it's Nordic countries.
Okay. So where it's really cold.
Yes.
Up north of
Hygge.
Hygge. Okay.
Hygge.
It's spelled.
I don't have it up there anymore. I had it.
I know.
I had it
it's like,
posted on my bulletin board.
Yeah.
It's Hygge, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, we're talking about like gift giving and like actual like Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, but and if you had listened to the holiday traditions, we're kind of going in that direction a lot with some of this conversation. But I kind of like to think about the perfect holiday as not just those experiences, like the traditions and stuff like that, but it's all 5 senses in a way, right? You
yes, absolutely.
The music, the food, the smells. Like I love to put my Scentsy wax this time of year. Like I take advantage and I put all the Christmas smells. And
if you don't know what Scentsy is, it's a wax melt
melter
company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so hygge is the whole idea of being like comfortable and
cozy
snuggly
and
cozy and experiencing like that comfort
yes
indoors with your family or by yourself. kind of falls in with like self-care and stuff. And
It does. And, that's kind of one of the things that I embrace. I actually had it up on my little bulletin board over here. That's why she was looking for it.
yeah, I was like, I love to use it to because I can read it. Yeah.
I took my stuff down so I could reorganize everything, and it's empty right now. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I kind of embrace for the holiday season is I like to incorporate that feeling. I want my whole fall, starting in October, actually, to feel that way in my home, because fall is home time for me. Fall and winter are home time for me. And so all of those holidays, Thanksgiving, everything is all about making it comfy, cozy, and just hunkering down for the cold weather. Not that we get all that much cold weather here, but I like that feeling, and so it is all about the smells and the plush blankets on the sofa and mood lighting and things like that. I have like all the little flickering candles that battery operated, and the Scentsy. And by the way, Kristen sells Scentsy if you want some. But
shameless plug.
yes, shameless plugs there. So anyway, we like all those things. What about your routines? Let's talk about how routines change
so
during the
keeping the
holidays.
routines, that is so hard because I am like out of control. Like I miss one routine and then my whole life goes like spinning out of control.
It's hard because I'm off for like 2 weeks during the holidays being a teacher, so it's hard to keep those routines because I have like a certain routine that I do before work. Yeah,
Right.
It's almost like you would have to plan it ahead of time in October and be like, okay, all these days in December I'm going to be off. This is what I'm going to do during
Just
all
to
those
stay
days.
to mimic my routine.
To make a routine.
Maybe it's not necessarily the same routine, but you try to mimic those routines.
Right.
Like,
but if you're going to get up and go shopping, you might as well get up and be there at 8:00
because you're
whatever.
normally getting up. Yeah.
That's what I try to do on the weekends. I try not to sleep until 1 p.m. on the weekends because I know that I'm going to have to get up at 5 a.m. on Monday.
Right. And like exercise routines, a lot of people forego their exercise routines because family's in town or whatever. Well, there's nothing that says you can't take your family out to walk the dog like you normally do every night.
Right.
My husband Mark does that when Raina's here. He invites Raina to come with him on the walk with the dog. So rather than give up walking the dog to stay with family.
Or even if you can't do that routine, maybe incorporating your family into something else to keep the physical activity maintained.
Yes. And same thing with food and your diet. A lot of us blow that diet during the holidays.
Yeah, just go crazy.
Well, and
it starts in October and goes all the way through New Year's.
It totally does because there's all those yummy fall
ends
flavors
at the end of February.
Yeah.
After the
after the end, the day after. Well, okay, then there's Easter. Yeah, so you can only do
Mother's Day. Okay.
No dieting ever.
No, okay, so, but the idea
Make
is
plans
that
to misbehave.
we bake all these baked goods and cookies and things, but a little bit of self-control goes a long way. Even though you have all those foods there, give a lot of them away. Go ahead and bake all those foods and then bag some up and send some home with all your guests.
Mark's mom, my grandma Mima, she used to do that. She would make like this bundt cake, like a spice cake, and she'd have it and she'd cut a slice for herself and give everyone a slice. And then whenever we'd leave, she'd send us home with half a cake. Yeah. Or she'd put the other half in the freezer.
Yeah. And so there's nothing that says you have to sit there and eat all those foods. So eat what eat a little bit, enjoy them, but give some away. When your company comes for dinner, pack up a big goodie bag full of candies for them to take home. Go, bag up some and take them to your neighbors and things like that. And then you've gotten your little sample of your favorite Christmas cookie. You've met that expectation, but you're not you're being realistic. You can't eat all those cookies and maintain a healthy weight or maintain a healthy diet or whatever. And same thing with your other meals. And, you know, the holidays are not necessarily an excuse just to away. Yeah. Well, I mean, and the holidays are not just an excuse to eat all you want. You know, be realistic. Remember what this is going to do to you. Plan for it. Plan for those holiday parties. You know, if you know you're going to a holiday party and there's not going to be anything healthy there to eat before you go. And then you can
take what you can eat and share it with other people. That's what I do with my work parties because I know that everybody's going to bring muffins or whatever.
Right. And there's probably other people there that appreciate having something healthy to eat.
I'm always the one to bring the vegetable plate.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. You know, hover around the vegetable plate. You know, you can do that. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the delegating. Oh,
I did want to say, because I feel like I felt a certain type of way for like 2 seconds, and then I was like amazed at it. So my mom never let me put the ornaments on the tree. Let me just say that she had the way she liked to put her tree up. That's why she didn't want to mess with it last year, because she likes the ornaments in a certain place. And, you know, she has a very like intricate Christmas tree.
Well, and I have a lot of
very fragile ornaments that are older than me. So when Raina came along, the first Christmas that they spent with us, where we were like, hey, let's decorate the tree together, because Mom's always complaining, I got to put it up by myself, but then no one wants to help her because she wants it done a certain way. So we all just avoid it, to be honest. So we would always just avoid helping her with the tree because there's nothing I could do, like, to do it the way you wanted it, you know, because you wanted a certain way. But when Raina came around, she just had so much joy in letting Raina put the ornaments on the tree, and it was the most relaxing thing ever because she lowered her expectations. She delegated and allowed other people, because sometimes delegating isn't just being the boss and telling other people what to do, but it's also allowing other people to help you.
Yes. Allowing them to be part of that planning and orchestration.
Right. Yeah. Now it's a new tradition that Raina helps put up the
and she loves coming over here to decorate the tree. I think she likes decorating your tree more than ours at home.
Well, and then that branched off into decorating our Halloween our houses for Halloween as well.
And it actually got done early because we made each other like accountable.
We made a plan and we held each other accountable for it. But yeah, the delegating is really hard because it goes back to those lowered expectations and making that plan and being realistic. It's not going to be perfect. Even if I did it, it wouldn't be perfect. So, you know, let's have a realistic expectation about what the tree can look like. You know, I don't have to let the 5-year-old handle the fine hand-blown crystal. But she can certainly handle the hand-painted walnut that looks like Santa Claus. And, you know, and so we do this together. We each pick an ornament and we do it and we decide where we go. And we coach, you know, Kristen and I have begun coaching Raina in, well, we need some up high. We need some down low. That's too close to another angel. Let's put it over here where there's not any angels.
You see where I'm going, people?
Yeah, I'm really bad. I'm very OCD about the tree.
Her tree is like trigonometry.
No, so am I. Like, this is our second year, Jason and I putting up a tree together, and I definitely coach him like, this needs to go there. There are too many icicles in one area. There's a blank spot. No, I'm the same way.
Well, a Christmas tree is a work of art. It is a 3-dimensional sculpture. It basically is. It is artwork.
Well, I mean, people keep a tree up all year round.
Some people do, yeah.
You know, it is an artistic thing for them.
It is an artistic expression. And I have multiple trees throughout my house. And my big tree that's in the living room is the most decorated one, and it's the one I'm most picky about. But I do enjoy letting Raina and Kristen help me with that. And, you know, they probably would have helped me a long time ago if I had allowed it. going back to that delegating. But there's other things we delegate as well. Like, I let go of my expectation about the green bean casserole, and I let Kristen make the green bean casserole. Hers is a little different than mine. It doesn't mean it's not good. So I let go of my expectation of it tasting just like mine, and she makes hers, and it's good, and it's fine, and everybody loves it. So who cares? One year I let Travis make the mashed potatoes. It wasn't even made mashed potatoes. It was Bob Evans in the tub.
And those were pretty good.
And they were pretty
they?
darn good. So, there's lots of things where that delegating, lowering expectations. I sent my husband out last year to decorate the patio and get the tables set up, and he did it different than what I pictured in my head, but it was still a very beautiful thing. And I just love looking back at the pictures that we took of that patio with all the china set up on the table and the lights, and it was just beautiful. And if I hadn't delegated, if I had overseen that myself, it would not have looked the same. It might not have turned out as well as it did. And I would have been stressed out because I was trying to cook at the same time. So, I just let that stuff go. Let that beep go.
Yeah.
Well, I know my grandma used to be the same way, and she was the head of Christmas. And as she got older, she started delegating. And I remember the year that she delegated her famous broccoli rice casserole to me. Oh. And it was like, and that's the thing that everybody looked forward to eating every Christmas was the family's broccoli rice casserole. And so, every year I make it a little bit different because I always forget to buy one ingredient every year. So, but for some reason it turns out really great every year. And I just remember the first year that I made it, I was in my 20s for my family, and they're all coming with high expectations. And I thought, I'm going to fail miserably at this. I believe that year I forgot the celery. So I made it, and it turned out fine. Everybody was complimenting me on it. They didn't even notice that it didn't have celery, which was nice. But I swear every year I make it, I forget one ingredient.
You are totally getting signed up for that.
Yep. Guess what you get to make for our holidays? Yep.
Okay. So, I don't eat it, but I love it.
Because that's one of the things Mom always wants to make, but she always crosses it off at the end.
Never have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is the one thing that you refuse to delegate, that you refuse to let somebody else do?
One of mine is something I can't talk about because little pitchers have big ears.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so, that one's a good one. Yeah.
The magical mystical.
Mystical part.
I am like, I get to be a mom now.
Yeah.
I get to be
the
thing.
That is a magical, wonderful thing. And when I had children, that was one of my favorite parts.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry, but
yeah,
you can just imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Mine goes with gift giving.
Mm-hmm.
I like wrapping the gifts.
Same. Yeah, like buying the gifts.
Buying and wrapping the gifts.
Jason is really horrible at buying gifts.
Mark is good at buying gifts, but he's terrible at wrapping gifts. And I'm very picky about my gift wrapping. I like my papers to be in a theme or to match. This comes back to, well, we all know I'm OCD anyway, but this comes back to the days when we had to go to multiple families. And so we would have gifts that went to this house or that house or whatever. And it was too hard to just throw them under the tree and, then sort them out later when you needed to go. So I always had a color scheme for each household. So friends were one color. Mark's family was one color. My family was one color. Kristen and Chuck's family was another color. And so then it was easy. You just go under the tree and grab all the things. So I've always had these packages that had matching paper. And so for me, that's something I can't give up. I love having the matching paper, and I usually go through and pick out a color scheme, and then I will just buy papers in those colors. But I'm really picky about the way they're wrapped. I don't want them popping open. I don't like wrinkled packages. I just, that's my thing. So that's one of the ones I can give up everything else. I can give up cooking. I've given up the decorating of the tree. Last year I did hardly any decorating at all, but the wrapping of the gifts, that's a big one.
But that's also like a fun activity because we kind of made a tradition out of.
We did. Yes.
We'll sit Travis and Raina and everyone else in the living room, and we'll be in the dining area, and we'll watch a movie where we can see this TV also, and we'll wrap gifts. Be like, don't look, I'm wrapping yours really quick.
Yeah.
I love buying gifts and wrapping gifts and stuff like that. Jason, he was, I had this whole thing planned for Jason's mom's birthday. Like I was going to make her a gift. I mean, we were also going to give her, like he always gives his mom a car wash gift thing every year. And I was like, yeah, we can do that. But I have like this whole thing planned. Well, he just went ahead and went and bought the car wash gift thing. Didn't even get her a card. And just gave it to her for her birthday. And I was just like, that made me so mad because I was making this gift. And I was like, okay, you're now banned from buying gifts.
But that's kind of like his tradition.
Yeah, so. It's his tradition. But he didn't even get her a card that said, and he didn't say, "Oh, from Amber" either. He just handed it to her.
Yeah,
I was just like, okay,
it takes time in your relationship to meld together the gift buying experience and just doing the holidays together. I remember the first time I brought Travis over, it was probably like an hour of me going, I want you to meet my parents though, like come over, because it was around Christmas. And I was like, but I just went to your family's house, and that was like, I was like, is this, going to be an issue in our relationship? Because I'm going to spend Christmas with my mom. Like, forget you then,
He was so super shy when y'all first started dating.
And that really was what it was. And then, I then was like, okay, I need to know more about your family's holidays and, like what are we doing for Thanksgiving? And, of course COVID happened. So we haven't really spent much holidays with his other family members, because they've been really like sheltering in place. So it's kind of like something you kind of have to learn in a new relationship is that, you both want to stick with your absolutes. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to be willing to
be
flexible. And that was always hard whenever, coming from a blended family and having like, multiple families that you have to figure out how to visit everybody. When I was a kid, I always missed out on the family fun at one house when I was over at the other house. And so I was kind of like, oh man, I missed out. And then I would go back to the other house and I was like, oh man, I'm missing out on all the fun over there, and that was really challenging. So it actually became easier when we just stopped going to like everybody's houses and just trying to make it just smaller, instead of trying to go. That made it a little bit easier on me because I just had like FOMO the whole time.
Yeah. But now we make our own fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the things that you loved and missed at the other house, we can do. Mm-hmm. Without, we can do that together. So, and that goes back to what I said, about changing what we wanted to do and things. So we just kind of adopted those traditions from the other things that we love. And sometimes we don't have time to do all of those things. Obviously, like last year, we had no decorations and we ran out of time to decorate the gingerbread house. Well, we didn't have gingerbread houses last year. We had gingerbread sweaters, and
they were like sugar cookies.
They were sugar
like
cookies,
pre-baked cookies.
Yeah, I bought a kit. We bought a kit thinking this will be fun. We'll make ugly sweater cookies instead of gingerbread houses. And we ran out of time to get it done because of all the construction and also because of we had Coy here at the time and we were trying to take care of him and different things. And so I think Kristen and Raina were the only ones who made a cookie actually. And they sat out for days and days and days and nobody else ever made one. And, you know, we wound up just throwing them away and the cookies were terrible. And it was really bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, that goes back to that being realistic, lowering your expectations. Yeah, and being in the moment too. You know, all of these things just kind of go together. You can't just practice one of them. You kind of have to practice all of them. And really, I think if you wanted to add it in, you could make that 8th one and call it Be Flexible.
Yeah.
Or be willing, because sometimes the plan doesn't work and, you just have to do what you can do. So, well, I think that's, unless y'all have something else you want to add to that.
No.
Okay. Well, next week we are talking about
handmade Christmas gifts.
I know. See, here we are.
We already talked about it, but
yeah, we're all in December and we're talking all the holiday stuff again. So
my favorite topic, Christmas gifts. I know we already talked about it a little bit, but we're going to talk more. We're going to go in depth.
So many things, so many ideas. So I'm looking forward to that. I think you guys are too. If you have any secrets to a perfect holiday, or you disagree or agree with anything that we've talked about on the podcast today, leave us some comments. Go over to our MMC chat, head over to the blog. Any of those places are great forums to carry on the conversation. And we'd like to give special thanks to Red Door Studios, Creative Audio Tech, for our music and recording equipment. And we'd like to thank you, our loyal listeners. If you've enjoyed this, please give us a good rating and share the feed with all your friends. And we'll pick up this conversation next week with handmade Christmas gifts. Bye.
Bye.